You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, where we share topics that will inspire business growth and help you stay ahead of advances in technology before they become mainstream. This episode is sponsored by Ingram Micro Xvantage, the game-changing platform that will transform your business potential and reshape how customers see you. On this episode of Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk, we are delighted to have a very special guest with us today. Kanishka Sinha is a technology leader of Ingram Micro's Hyperautomation professional services team. He's based in the Philippines. Today, we'll be launching part one of a two-part series exploring the synergy between professional services and the cutting-edge technology of robotic process automation, or RPA, and the opportunities they present for Ingram Micro partners. We're also going to explore how hyperautomation is revolutionizing the landscape of professional services. Welcome to B2B Tech Talk, Kanishka. It's good to have you here.
Thanks, Nina. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, you bet. So today we're talking hyperautomation. And according to IDC's most recent data, 62% of organizations worldwide rate application modernization as a top priority, citing financial reasons as well as operational efficiency. Can you tell this audience what exactly is hyperautomation and how it can help organizations create that efficiency?
Great question. So, hyperautomation, in simple words, is a combination of technologies such as intelligent automation, RPA, machine learning, and AI. And primarily, it is looking into how do you take these technologies together, and then repetitive task is one of the manual tasks, how these processes can be organized to be streamlined, to be automated, reduce the manual touch, and making it to the next level of technology. And it is connected to both the classic legacy technologies and the upcoming digital technology. So it works as a bridge, as a system of engagement between these two. And in terms of the workplace, it is the most important things as of now for organizations as they are advancing towards a digital journey. Most organizations and businesses are at the same time trying to go into the much more digitized space as and optimizing their IT spends and technology spend. So all three becoming together, the host of technology, as I mentioned, from a hyper automation standpoint, becomes the key bridge between technology, business processes, and the advancement to digital.
Excellent. So that's a great summary. And going back to what IDC said, 62%, that's a large total available market that's being presented to our partners. But I want to go back, let's go back to hyperautomation. As you mentioned here, it's the integration of advanced technologies like AI, machine learning, robotic process automation or RPA, and many more to streamline those business processes. But what are the tangible benefits that make this so compelling for our partners and their customers?
That's what really drives the conversation, if I would say. So hyper automation primarily offers a range of tangible benefits. If you look into the key categories and key advantages, efficiency and effectiveness becomes the most important aspect. That it makes your processes much more efficient. You can take out the repetitive task. You can take out the simple decision making. You can enable your key decision making with the data using machine learning and AI. Accuracy and reduction of error has picked up a lot as one of the key aspects. How do you make error-free transaction? It impacts your customer and impacts your business directly. How do you improve accuracy? Right from being much more legal and compliant to be right to your customer the first time. Faster decision making. As you take efficiency and right first time into your processes, you become, as an organization, much more faster in your decision, accurate in your decision, how you're reaching to your vendors, partners, your end customer. Uh, Cost saving, all this leads to how do you save your total operational costs And not only that, how do you optimize your real return on investment uh, on technologies and business processes, which is important for the product organization, the vendors and the resellers we have, and the end customers utilizing this. Customer experience, and a customer being at the center of everything, irrespective of which part of the channel you are, becomes much more important. Imagine using machine learning and you know in today's day, chatbots gets you with your customer 24 by 7 in a much more easier way. So how do you enhance that customer experience? And even the being right first time, being much more cost effective. Scalability has a big impact. The ability to scale using these technologies is much more higher, quicker, rather than doing classic ways. And I would say the final two for me would be, how do you take these technologies to be much more data driven organization and utilize all of the above to get a competitive advantage, to be a real value provider to your customers and your product organization, and be a value enabler in the end to end life cycle.
So that is a lot of value. And I would imagine also that the savings that comes from creating these efficiencies can be allocated to innovation, right? So you take from the savings that you have and you're able to put it in places that will help your company grow. So now that you've cited all of this great value, what about, do you have any use cases or examples that you can share?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to start to one of your point before I go on an example, as you rightly said, these cost savings leading into innovation, we ourselves are a great example. How we started this technology adoption internally before we created a center of innovation and started going out to our resellers and partners to help with hyper automation technology. Coming to some of the key examples, I would say, if we take an example of banking and financial services, has greatly benefited from using streamlined processes. One of the key examples we see in multiple geographies is streamlining the application processes, right from loan to mortgages to credit card. Now, these processes always existed. They have a defined process, defined decision tree, and using automation along with machine learning and taking it to end customer, that has reduced for most of the organization a life cycle of a process being running into 1 week to a day and less. In certain customers, it has been reduced to less than a 30-minute to get a decision of your loan processing. And this utilizes the same data points they were utilizing earlier, but it's way more quicker and faster. One of the aspect what we see is finance and as a process for multiple verticals, uh, taking the advantage of hyper automation and streamlining the overall finance operation is a key uh, example. You're automating your end-to-end P2P lifecycle, making it much more streamlined, error-free, and that impacts not only your vendors, the way they get paid, your customers, uh, the own book of finance, how the AR and AP work together. But at the same time, it also feeds into the right first time data for regulatory reporting. So it's an end to end benefit case. And we see that as a very common example to start. So finance operation becomes a common example, irrespective of industries, to start this process.
So you mentioned something about what Ingram Micro is doing, and I think it's happening across the board, but most predominantly with our platform Xvantage, where we have streamlined so many processes that required multiple people, multiple phone calls. We put the customer at the center, and now, and was recently mentioned by one of our partners, what used to he used to leave a customer's office, go back to his office, make phone calls in order to get a quote, to be able to close a deal. he could do it right in the customer's office now with Xvantage. And that is a tremendous value and a great customer experience. So you're right. We can be an example in a use case for how well this is working.
Definitely.
I have two questions. One is why is that number of 62% so high today? I know this technology has been around for a few years. Is it lack of awareness?
Now, I would say there are two aspects to it. One, how the awareness has now increased, and also how the technology has matured. A lot of this technology started with automation, attended automation to start with. If you look into around 10 years ago, the technology has changed a lot. Machine learning technologies, which were much more, I would say, nascent stage, has developed exponentially, and the results what a module you could have trained in years now can be trained with the available data in months. So there are three things which has affected the size of the market growing. One, the technology becoming much more streamlined itself and easier to use. Second is the awareness and adoption. A lot of organization have shied away from hyperautomation technologies, not understanding the full impact or not understanding how to how to bring them into their IT guidelines. That now being clear and multiple organizations using it makes it much more simpler. And third and the most is organizations seeing the value or the return of investment which can be done. And that's where we come as a core, as the professional services part of these technologies, because the software has existed. I think the education and enablement through professional services is what increasing the market size and making sure that yes, what you buy today can be adopted by your organization and you will have a great return of investment. I think that's the compelling part why what is making teams go ahead and adopt to hyperautomation.
How important or significant is change management as part of this process of modernization?
It is right at the center. I would say that if you look at, if I have to kind of explain it with a simple diagram, I would say the center of it is uh, customer, what the customer expects. The second peripheral is the processes which one going to change, and processes change impacts people, and these are process and technology both changing at the same time. So change management becomes the much is a very important lever. What we have seen working internally as well with our partners and their end customers are three aspects of change management being important. One, do we really understand the end journey and what is the end impact being driven by these technology and process changes? Second aspect is how it is going to affect the different type of user personas. There is no one size fit all, and there are different personas and in different organization they are going to be different. Third is how does a persona adopts it, and when you reach at the end result, does it really create a change in persona as well? That's a key aspect which needs to start right in the beginning to be explained and discussed. So to your point, change management is very much core of this conversation. Uh, it actually defines a success and failure of a hyper automation program in simple words. Change management being done, not being done correctly, usually is the biggest roadblock.
Interesting. So it definitely needs to be part of the conversation as you're focusing on those business outcomes. So we've talked a little bit about the past of hyperautomation. What about the future? What's the roadmap?
Interestingly, I would say the roadmap is highly accelerating and exponentially growing due to, again, three primary reasons out there. Technology has matured and now being available at multiple, in multiple ways. So the commercials of the technology, availability of the technology is much more easier. The second aspect is there are multiple use cases available today, which helps a new organization to adopt and an existing organization to accelerate. Yes, you need the right partner, the right professional services arm, and to accelerate it with that knowledge, but that is available in the market. And the third aspect is the user persona itself. These technologies are now available at an end user in multiple formats. For example, a chat GPT or a conversational AI tool is available on every website. You're interacting as an end user. And that also brings a sentiment why as a user you would be much more easier to adopt these technologies. When we look into with these three aspects, how organizations are changing, I would say why there is an exponential trajectory of these technology. Because much in every organization is looking for cost optimization, ability to integrate and be much more digital. If you're not a digital native organization, you have to become one. And these two are pushing the organizational direction towards the adoption of these technology. And hyperautomation is building that bridge from legacy technology processes to help you go ahead and advance holistically into a digital phase. So I would say these are the combination of which is making this market accelerate at a high rate.
That's awesome. And so we've discussed a lot of things. We've defined hyperautomation. We've discussed the value of hyperautomation. We've also presented some use cases. This has been a lot of information. And we've also talked about the total available market, which is massive. Uh, Kanishka, this has been fantastic. I know we're going to be doing a part 2 of our hyperautomation series. Can you give us a preview of what we're going to be talking about?
So we would be talking about how Ingram can help in this journey uh, to our partners and their end customers with the expertise we have, and also the aspect of what have we developed in this journey to make it simpler for our partners and customer to adopt to this journey and accelerate in the journey.
You have been a delightful and very informative guest. So appreciate you joining us today on B2B Tech Talk, and we look forward to the next segment.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Impactful global engagements, iconic entertainment experiences, and memorable networking opportunities. Be part of it all at Ingram Micro One 2024. You've been listening to Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode and you want to continue the conversation online, use hashtag B2B Tech Talk.